What up, guys and girls? Another brand new video coming at you today. We are back for some more Race Spec F1 Esports content, this time with the F2 Pacific Sprint Series for Season 3. Here for the finale of Season 3, actually, here at the usual place where we have finales, Abu Dhabi. So here we go. This is obviously our one-shot qualifying lap time. Obviously, you'll hear me quite a bit. If my video voice overrides my voiceover voice, then this should be interesting. So here we go. Last time we'll be driving the Dams. Last time we'll be driving the F2 2019 cars in this season. So here we go, flowing through turn 4 and now into turn 5. Sector 1 is a pretty much 20 dead, 20.002 in sector 1. Up into the tricky hairpins, sort of shifted back to first gear now and quickly shift back up into second gear to avoid all the wheel spin.
I don't predict this track to be a good one for me. I did a bit of practice. Kept invalidating, so it wasn't ideal. I never do well around here at this track. Well, we found out on Tuesday anyway in the Pacific Series.
Yeah, practice obviously was not probably, well, I think I did a little bit of practice. I can't remember. This video was from ages ago, trust me. So I think the only knowledge I had was from the Pacific Series.
But we're not in any
earlier on in
fights
T2,
or anything.
so
might be a few still minor places to play out. Constructors, possibly.
Yeah, we'll get into that a little bit later on. But one man you'll see there, Spilly's already retired.
Spilly's starting from the back.
He's going to start from the back. And he's one of the championship contenders, I believe, still in with a shot of the championship. We'll have a look at those standings a bit later on. A bit sideways coming out of turn 14. Now through to the long right-hander into turns 17, 18 and 19. Or pretty much the hotel section. So underneath we go, underneath the night sky around here. So we'll have a night race, obviously, for the feature race.
It might
and
be pole this
a day
week, maybe.
A day one for the sprint race, if that makes sense. So it'll be nighttime and daytime, basically, for the two races. So around the final corner, it's definitely not going to be pole position. Somebody else will have got it by now, just in time, literally. I thought it was actually going to be pretty close.
And obviously Spilly was, because he retired.
It's only 6th place.
Still P6. This seems to be my common position in this race.
Yep, which is obviously seems like you
Formula
heard
2. Well,
be the
it's
common
in 2019 cars. Hopefully that changes in the 2020 cars.
So my positions obviously have not changed.
XP.
It's pretty much similar. So G-Force Crossy.
Okay, there was a little bit of improvement. We still fall behind the Rock, who beat us on Tuesday night in qualifying. I guessed right. Sepp was on pole, only just over ACW. That's actually pretty close. That's probably the closest it's been all season. Well, in the top 6 I'm talking about, but I mean, there's still a championship up for grabs in this, because Wogboy and Spilly are battling it out for the title, basically.
So you can obviously hear me going in the background.
What strat are we going to go on?
So
Super soft,
race strategy-wise,
or do the other way around?
It's a bit of a tricky one here. Obviously, I think majority of these guys are going to be doing the opposite strategy, starting on softs and then going to super soft.
If you want it.
So obviously, I'm just having a little look in the race director.
Doing opposite. Swaggy's doing opposite.
Just trying to work out who's doing
the gamble.
Going to see who's doing the opposite, but I think majority of people look like they might do super softs. But there's a couple of guys.
We did soft to super soft last week.
This is all based on a safety car. If we get an early safety car,
is doing it.
This might change things. So
you know what? We'll take a gamble this week. Why not? Got nothing to lose, really.
So yeah, we're going to do this.
I may have just absolutely ballsed it up.
So pretty much we're going to do super softs to soft compounder strategy, if you haven't already guessed that already. But here's the championship standings. So 15 points between Wogboy and Spilly in the Drivers' Championship. We are just narrowly in the top,
about 5
off the top 10 in P12, I think it is. Tried and have a 16-point advantage over MP Motorsport in the Constructors' standings. So pretty much good consistency from ACW and Pure Gold. Yeah, I think we're 12th, just behind our teammate, of course, who hasn't been turning up for the last few rounds.
Seb, ACW, Wogboy, Rock, me, and Spilly on super softs. Everybody else, Plebs, Wafer, Stonetail, and Swaggy on softs, righto?
So that's just the basis general guide of
if this turns out shit. Well,
who's starting on what side? There's a bit of a mixture up and down the grid. So, I mean, if we get an early safety car, this will absolutely screw up maybe the guys going the opposite strategy, potentially.
Still don't know why I signed up for this, even though I wanted the 2020 cars, but we'll get that next season, don't you worry.
For lap 3. So here we go. We're all set for the finale here in Season 3. 5 red lights. Let's do it around Yas Marina Circuit, and it's not the greatest of starts. Didn't obviously get the ideal start with the revs, so I think I might have actually had a bit too much lower revs there. We've got top four. We just narrowly gets, well, not squeezed a bit, but
please no, please
Rock
no,
did a good
please
job
no,
around the outside. And obviously we saw there with on board with Plebs, who had a pretty decent start as well in the Prema. But all in all, everyone's got through here cleanly. There's only 10 of us as well this week, so not ideal numbers, but of course, like always, getting to the end of the season.
Hello, Spilly.
It's straight away. Spilly is already on the charge, trying to go around the outside of the rock, which I don't think it has worked. As you can see, there he is on the right-hand side of the screen. So he's doing super soft tyres as well.
Help me, somebody.
We've got Swaggy also behind in the Campos. It was on the soft competitor tyres, and then Stone Towel as well on the soft competitor tyres. We have a little look up the inside. They go Spilly, going to go around the long way to turn to the inside. Swaggy doing the exact same thing to me, which he's absolutely done perfectly there. As we get very sideways coming out of that corner there at turn 9. But so that obviously affects our run a little bit there. So, but we stay in position, go back down to position 8, I should say, as he goes Swaggy up the inside of the rock. Be a little bit of contact. We have a think about it going. We're on the wrong side for the next corner. We try doing a bit of a switch back.
Someone's taking the bollard.
Up the inside. It's no, not quite. We haven't quite got the momentum in the end. But you can see Wafer
not the one I want it.
Stone Towel fighting behind there as well. So on to lap 2. Here we go. Up we go to up the hill. Now this bit's always tricky because you get a lot more understeer in these cars, as is shown right on cue, and into the wall we go.
How did I not bin that?
I'm actually surprised that that didn't actually destroy the car, because it was a fairly hefty hit on that fence. So yeah, I'm a little bit puzzled there. Obviously,
front wing
warning,
damage.
but yeah, obviously now we've got a bit of front wing damage, so that's not going to help things. So we'll look at some other POVs. Well, I think we're going to work out what we do next. So here's Plebs and Spilly. Spilly coming up the inside into turn 8. And Plebs doesn't really fight that too much. Spilly obviously needs to make some recovery ground a little bit from earlier on. Here's a replay on board with the star from F1, Wogboy. He seems to be getting the good starts lately, and again he's had a pretty decent start. He can't really do anything. I thought he was going to go for the move up the inside of crossing into turn 1, as he gets a little bit sideways himself coming off that corner. Here's another replay on board with us. You can see here, obviously, we took a lot of curve, but you see the understeer in these cars. Obviously, I went for a bit of a flying and end up in the wall. Look at the amount of speed that I was carrying through that corner. And, well, technically I did bin it, but how I didn't destroy the car, I seriously don't have any clue at all there. So, you see, we're struggling a little bit here. You see Jeff already trying to make us go onto a different strategy, but very, very sideways there. You can tell, but we're actually going to stay out. I thought from the replays we're going to actually come straight into the pit lane, but no, we stayed out because obviously need to complete at least 3 laps, as we absolutely missed that turn 13 corner there. And Jeff was not too overly thrilled with me with that one. There's probably no surprise there, but you have to complete, basically what I'm trying to say is you have to complete a minimum of 3 laps around here just to get close, well, make sure that your strategy is perfect around here. It's 3 laps. What I'm trying to say is 3 laps is the minimum you can do on a set of super soft tyres, and then once that is pretty much done, you can just come in and get you onto the soft competitor tyres. So that would help, especially in the safety car situation as well. So we'll get a front wing change, obviously, and remember F2 cars pit stops are a little bit slower compared to the main F1 league, so also the main F1 feeder category, you could say. But as you can see now, we're pretty much in no man's land here, so not really going to show you too much as we get a little bit too sideways coming out of exit of turn 13 again. But that was on our at lap, mind you, on lap 4, so there's going to be a lot of POVs being shown at this point in time. So here we go. This is going to be a change for the lead here, with Wogboy going up the inside of Crossy. This is exactly what he needs to do in terms of the championship as well. So pretty simple move there for Wogboy, and takes the lead of the race and can start to drive away from Crossy. But pretty much after that, he comes straight into the pit lane, and this is on the end of lap 4, lap 5. Now, as you can see, majority have actually come in. So Wogboy, Crossy and ACW are all in. So there's the first 2. And Wild Boys MP Motorsport crew are a little bit further down the pit lane. So they should all maintain their positions, I would think. So he's just waiting for the green light to go, and away he goes. So, yep, they pretty much all stay set the same as they were. So back we go here to Plebs, who obviously was doing the opposite strategy. You can see he's actually closing back in on Spilly for position 2, I think. And Swaggy goes for a massive dive bomb out of nowhere there, and it absolutely does not come off there at all. So he drops back behind Plebs there as well. So not ideal there. I don't think Spilly was overly too happy, to say the least. But here comes Plebs. Going to try and go, have to go around the long way here into turn 11, which you can do if you outbrake yourself, which he does. Very nicely there is Plebs. And gets into position 2, I think that is, or it might have been position 1 at the time. I'm not entirely sure. As you can see here, coming down, there's a few pit stops that are happening, and that is actually, that pink dot, that's actually Spilly, I think you'll find, who must have had an issue coming out of the pit lane, and now he's retired out of this Grand Prix.
Spilly's actually DNF'd in the pit lane, has he?
I only caught a glimpse of it. I had to look back at the footage to see what had actually happened, but he actually, I think he had a moment coming out of the pit lane exit. As there's his car off to the right-hand side there, but basically the gist of it is what happened. He obviously had a bit of a moment coming out of the pit lane exit. It's reset him back to the track.
One spot gain.
And for whatever reason that Spilly has decided to do is just basically just retire or slam it straight into the walls. We get another 3-second time penalty. And at this stage, I think I'd given up getting position 8 in this race. So it wasn't ideal. I think Spilly may have just driven it into the wall, and then he's just pretty much left the session. So,
okay, why has he just left the session?
Which I question big time, as considering there's another race still to go.
Yeah.
But whether that was just in frustration or something, or what, whether something else had occurred, I don't really know. But he was still mathematically in the championship fight, I think, because obviously the point system is a little bit different in Formula 2 compared to F1. There goes Swaggy up to the effective, well, it's into the lead for now anyway, until these guys pit in onto the super soft tyres later on, which should come about probably lap 11 or 10-11, around that time. As you can see, I'm still struggling here at the moment. I was probably really struggling a bit more with the braking. That was nice words coming out of my mouth. But obviously, with this league as well, we use default setups. We just narrowly nudged it up to the wall. I had to double check to make sure I didn't get any front wing damage, which thankfully I didn't. So that's an added bonus there. And here we go back to Wogue Boy. Stone Tower has a moment and nearly comes straight back into the path of Wogue Boy. That was very, very lucky there, but all the other guys behind actually got past as well. I think ACW's now got ahead of Crossy as well. So as we pick up another 3-second time penalty, we're obviously skipping a few laps ahead because not really much happened at all from my end. But I was really struggling, obviously, with the braking. We obviously, in this league, we only use the default setup, which is the middle, obviously, setup, as there's Stone Tower also comes into the pit lane. Obviously, he's doing the opposite strategy as well, from softs to super softs. But it's a little bit tricky with the braking in a sort of default setup car compared to, well, if you used it like a setup or even another preset setup as well. So I think Stone Tower's had a bit of a spin there. I think he was starting to close me in quite a margin, obviously, with on the super soft tyres. No surprises there. But back we go to Plebs. This is him coming in for his pit stop onto the super soft tyres, the purple striped tyre. Haven't seen those for quite a while, I must say the least, but I think that changes in the next Formula 2 cars. So, then Stone Tower leaves the session.
And he's just laying
down. Again, I wasn't really sure at the time whether that was out of frustration.
The BWT, AWA, whatever they are.
Yeah, not ideal for them in the Constructors' Championship, because I think they're like third. Third from memory in the Constructors' Championship? I can't actually remember, but I don't know whether that was frustration or whether he'd actually lost connection. I'm not entirely 100% sure there, but you can see Spilly and Stone Tower. Well, I was obviously trying to re-invite them, but my car's obviously controlled by AI. Has just decided to randomly come into the pit lane.
Bruh.
And that as well.
Why?
How I got a random 5-second penalty when my car's being controlled, I don't really get it.
That's bullshit.
You can tell my love for this game is really at a high point at this point in time. So But obviously pointing out as well, look how much I crossed the pit lane exit as well. Didn't even get a warning for that. So this game is so lovely, as you could obviously tell. But here we go. Back we go to Plebs, who's closing in on Crossy for, I think this is, what is this position? I can't really tell. I think it might be for 4th and 5th in this race, or it might be 4th and 5th. But obviously the different tyre strategy, Crossy doing soft compounded tyres and Plebs doing super soft. So like I said, opposite strategy. So there'll be quite a few guys mixed in. So it'll be obviously a few guys on softs and a few guys on super softs, but they've got to make use of the rubber while they've got it.
So what is the fastest lap currently?
Just double checking the fastest lap of the race.
The fastest lap is a 1 minute 50.4.
It's a 1 minute 50.4, which I think my fastest. I don't know whether. Well, you can see it on the top right on my screen there. What my original lap time was. I think it's like a 52.
51.2.
But now I've dropped it down to a 51.2, so probably about 3 full tenths away from the actual fastest lap of the overall.
The leaders are about the start finish.
As you can see here, I'm going to the final lap here. You can see where I am compared to where everybody else is.
Hey guys,
just giving everybody away from where I am, because I think the track pretty much joins, well, not quite joins up, but it's in close proximity is what I'm trying to say. So to each other here. So yeah, I mean, like I said, there's not much point of view from my end. There was obviously a lot more from everybody else's point of views that I've got, both Plebs and Wog Boys. But obviously Wog Boy won the Grand Prix. We come home in 8th place, which means we get reverse grid pole for the next one. So, I mean, that's not all too bad, to say the least.
P8, we start from reverse grid pole. That's something. So
I wasn't... obviously, this wasn't part of the plans, to say the least. G4 Swaggy gets the driver of the day, so probably... no surprise considering I think he started like 9th or 10th. Yeah, 9th I think he actually started on. But yeah, I think what I was going to mention was with the point of views. I was actually going to have a bit more, well, maybe a couple more point of views. But for some reason, the program that I used to download the videos, it wouldn't have a bar of a few videos. So I must apologise to... I think I might have used, possibly was going to use the Race Spec live stream as well. I'm not sure whether it was actual live stream as well for this race, but I was going to use G4's Crossy's POV as well. But like I mentioned, whatever my program was happening with my program, it just wouldn't allow it. It was saying that there was nothing to download from that link.
Simple,
so
really?
Yeah, I don't really know. So I must apologise to G4's Crossy. So you, excuse me. Oh dear. Yeah, your footage is not going to be in this one, unfortunately, compared to the last few rounds. So, again, I apologise, but we've got Plebs' and Wog Boys' point of view as well. But
don't fuck up now.
Yeah, that was the last thing I needed, as we're about to set off on the formation lap, leading the field this time around.
Our system checks are good. We need to stay in formation and start bringing the car up to temperature, please. Get some load into the tyres and work the brakes. We want them nice and warm by the end of the lap.
Okay,
first time I started from reverse grid pole and probably won't be the last.
I think we started a couple of times from reverse grid pole.
Wafer, slow the fuck down, will you? I'm trying to wait for everybody else to catch up.
Yeah, well, obviously Wafer was in a bit of a mood to get going
in
this race, but obviously I was just waiting for everybody to catch up. But I remember later on that both the BWT boys, both Stonetail and Spilly, weren't in the lobby anymore, so that pretty much meant pointless. So I think their cars are pretty much ghosted at this point. So let's see what we can do from reverse grid pole. So here we go for the sprint race here at Abu Dhabi. 5 red lights. Let's do it once again from Yas Marina, and it's a little bit better start, a little bit too much revs in the secondary part, but we do get the jump compared to everybody else. We've got Wog Boy's point of view on the top right of screen, so he's coming from 8th place.
Not my best start, but I'll take it.
We get pretty much the jump away from everybody else, so you see the understeer coming up to turn 3 and 4. Will obviously be come under attack from Wafer because he's a pretty quick driver. So we absolutely go very deep coming through 5 and 6. So we had to cover the inside line. We're getting an absolute whack up the backside there from Wafer, which was not overly too thrilled about, as you can tell there from the little bit of weaving that I showed my frustrations there. But according to him, I think he was saying that I was lagging quite a bit at his point of view, but you'll see a lap later on what occurred. So Swaggy's now putting pressure. He had to cover up the inside. I absolutely missed my braking points. I've got no other choice but to pretty much cut out the chicane here. I get a 10-second time penalty.
let
And
that one
obviously,
go,
I had to let off the throttle here, so I obviously wouldn't take a big advantage from that. But in doing that, obviously, I was probably going to let these two anyway go past anyway. So, it's and in the end, we do lose another spot to Crossy as we go side by side here with the Rock. As we manage to avoid him. Swaggy going over from the inside. There's a little bit of contact with Wafer. Plebs up the inside of the Rock. It's all happening here on lap 1. We'll get some point of views a little bit later on. So still going side by side here, the top two, but Swaggy now gets in front for the time being in that Campos car. So he'll lead under the hotel section. And it's Wafer and Crossy. Plebs under a bit of attack thing from ACW behind. There's actually still fighting away there
choice, really,
between the Tridents and the Premiers. And that's what I was saying. From my point of view, I was saying I've had no other choice there, really. Is whether obviously I had to pretty much take the straight line speed approach as goes absolutely missed that corner at the hairpin at turn 7. But that was what I was going to mention as well. Wafer obviously he was red Xing quite a bit, then he just leaves,
and that's why
obviously he must have had a bit of an internet glitch with his net, because obviously he's now lagged out. So that's pretty much just a free spot now. So
don't do an ACW.
And like I mentioned earlier, he said at his point of view that I was lagging quite a bit. Might be the other way around, I think, from Wafer's point of view. So
10 seconds is going to kill me big time.
Yeah, that 10-second penalty, which obviously is not going to be removed at all. We're not going to make any pit stops or anything. So I wasn't even planning on getting it removed anyway. So that's not going to help us later on in this race. So here we go on board with Plebs. He's a couple of spots ahead of Wogboy. A pretty decent-ish start there from Plebs. Turn 1 we go. That was ACW trying to go around the outside. A little bit of contact, I think, with Swaggy. There's ACW going to go right around the outside. They'll have to give each other space, which they do. As they're just literally just rubbing wheels through turn 3. Does the ACW break him here? If he does, he'll have the inside line for the next corner. But Plebs is fighting on hard here. As he gets up the inside here, you can see probably just in the foreground, my little hit Wafer's hit on me as well. So, but back we go a little bit further on through here. You'll see I absolutely missed the chicane. Wafer and Swaggy still fighting away there. And obviously you know how that one panned out, of course. But what panned out in the midfield is a bit of an interesting one here. There we are in the foreground there. So Crossy goes around the outside. I thought the Rock was going to get me, but we held on for the time being. But that gave the Rock a bit of Plebs a bit more momentum as he absolutely barges his way through up the inside. Literally nearly going 3 wide. Now ACW is going to go around the outside here. This is all happening behind me, mind you. Which obviously now turned to the inside. Plebs will have to have break, but ACW will have the inside for the next corner. They're still side by side, just giving each other enough room. And then just also giving each other enough room. Thankfully, no fences were harmed in making this. Obviously, I don't know whether Plebs was too thrilled about that little push and shove there, but he let ACW obviously know about it. But now we're on to lap 2. This is obviously when Wafer disconnected. So there goes Plebs straight back up the inside on ACW, not mucking around at all. So that's one spot, and obviously he'll get an extra spot with Wafer's car being disconnected. Is Wogboy a little bit further back, actually. Didn't quite have the jump like I thought he might have, but obviously he gets past his teammate. I don't think Rock fights him too hard there, and all this stuff was going on. So this is allowing Wogboy to catch up. So I think we're spilling now, not in this race anymore, as we're going to go a little bit for a fly there. Not too bad overall there, but I think we're now spilling now out of the lobby. I think that pretty much confers Wogboy as the champion in F2 Pacific Sprint Series Season 3. At Swaggy, you can see probably just in the foreground there, doing quite a bit of weaving here, and that's not the first time he does this.
Not the fastest in the middle sector.
We get the fastest middle sector somehow. This is on lap 3, mind you. But, yeah, that pretty much obviously what I was saying. Wogboy confirming champion, as Swaggy still doing his best weaving impressions there in the foreground. You'll see this probably quite a bit these next couple of laps. As we'll see coming onto the front straight, he does it once again.
What is the weaving?
It's obviously now, we went quickest for a little bit, but then obviously got beaten by somebody else behind as well. So but now on to lap 4, obviously with Wogboy's obviously confirmed as the champion. So that's 3 different champions in 3 seasons in F2, so that's not too bad. So I think Plebs was champion in season 1. Toddy was champion in season 2, and that'll be obviously Woke Boy champion season 3.
What is this?
And Swaggy's still doing the weaving, pretty much on the straights, but he's still got a pretty hefty
you helping or what?
margin. Not overly too thrilled with the weaving a little bit there, but I think it's fair enough still. Might be just learning from Jack Aiken in, 2019 at Italy. As Plebs goes up the inside there, that was probably inevitable, but that was going to happen. We try and get a bit of drive, which we don't, but that doesn't help ACW's run there. It may have affected his run a little bit.
Left.
So obviously we keep the DRS, obviously with Plebs, and now Woke Boy's in this battle as well. So ACW will have to try and go the long way, which we absolutely shit bricks there from what my voice sounded like through there. But we managed to avoid any carnage or any damage, thankfully, and we managed to hang on to P4 for the time being. But these guys are starting to fall away as well. Spike is somehow still leading the way, even with his weaving, which he's still going to do here on his front straight. But now I'm going to be coming under attack from ACW. Of course, you probably would know ACW is pretty quick in the Elite Series, so... And he's been pretty quick as well in the F2 as we absolutely go flying once again through turns 3 and 4. But now, obviously, we're just going to try and hang on. Obviously, get in the DRS window. We're now under attack from ACW. We have to cover the inside line there into turn 7. But I think with that, we've lost the DRS of Plebs, which hasn't ideal.
Swaggy again with his weaving.
Probably just see
this, son?
Swaggy still doing his weaving just to try and break that slipstream. There he goes, straight up the inside goes ACW. Wogboy may take full advantage of this as well, which I think he does. We don't really fight for it too much here as we go around the outside to try and fight it, but no, not quite. He's got a bit more momentum there as we obviously take a warning for our trouble. So now we jump back to 6th place now. So basically, I think the goal here now is just try and hang on. We'll try and build a gap to the rock, I think, behind.
I knew that was inevitable.
Hopefully, obviously, we shouldn't have any safety cars on lap 5, pretty much halfway through lap 5. But obviously, just try and keep with these guys as best we can as we try and don't do any of that. Getting on the power too early through there. But yeah, that was just the goal. Just try and build up a bigger gap as we can so we can gain some points. Here's Plebs putting pressure on Crossy. So this was all happening on the foreground. Didn't quite see what went on here, but I think this might be a change for 2nd place in this race. Seb's got a 3-second time penalty, I think, by the look of these screens. So Pleb's going to have to do the long way. Crossy's got the DRS as well off Swaggy. Go around the outside. No, not quite. So have to bide his time once again to try and get that move done. And this was back we go with Wogboy. As point of view, I think there was a little bit of a moment here because somehow there might have been a bit of a lag moment there because both ACW and myself were like, just lagging back for him. So, but obviously he got that move done in the end ahead of myself. But as you can see, still Swaggy, still doing his weaving in the foreground. I think he's built up a little bit of a margin as well. So as we get the DRS off of Wogboy, but I think he's going to possibly make a move up the inside here at the next chicane at turn 8. You can see all this battles going on. There's Crossy and Plebs still fighting for positions. I think Plebs has finally got into 2nd spot. So that'll be an ideal spot. This is how it happens. So Crossy goes a little bit wide out of the hairpin. As you can see, you obviously see Swaggy in the foreground still trying to break that slipstream. He gets the DRS, so does Crossy. So still in the 1 second bracket with Swaggy. Now, obviously, he's going to have to do it the long way around. But if he hangs on around here, it'll turn to the inside for the next corner at turn 9. So this is what a few guys did earlier on in the race. And they obviously pulled off pretty well. There's still Swaggy just trying to break that slipstream as well. Back we go to our point of view. This has started a bit of a group starting
This is a fucking train and a half.
Yeah, but pretty much a train starting to bunch up here behind Swaggy, Plebs, Crossy. Who else we got? Wogboy and ACW all behind this. I think the other way around, ACW and Wogboy. But a bit of a train starting to form here. We've obviously dropped off a bit off the rock by a little bit. As I think Crossy's had a bit of a moment coming out of the hotel section. He's lost a spot to ACW. He might lose a spot to Wogboy. He does. We try and go for the move at the final corner. No, I don't really think that's a move there, as
heck.
we have a big lag spike ourselves.
I saw red X.
Red Xing there, so that wasn't ideal to say the least, but we avoided any carnage or taking anybody out, so that's an added bonus there. But now we're just going to fight on, maybe see if we can try and get ahead of Seb. But here's a replay on board with Wogboy. I don't know whether there was contact or not with ACW. It was a bit hard to tell with that point of view, but just managed to get away with it and kept it off the wall very well. Nice drift there from Seb, to say the least. But there you go, that was the couple of spots that those guys got. Now our turn to have a bit of attack as we get another 3-second time penalty. Well, that might be our first for this race. Obviously, but now it gets us 13 seconds worth of penalty. Swaggy's still doing the weaving on the straights.
In front.
Yep, I've pretty much dumped in the weaver at this point in time of the race. But now we're going to see if we can try and catch up to Crossy.
Preferably don't want the Rock to catch up.
Yeah, that was my goal here as well, just to try and make sure the Rock didn't catch up. So he's just dropped away a little bit. Wayford did rejoin, I think, from memory, but he's a lot further down the field. And then got the two BWT cars, who, of course, none of them.
I've got DRS. Seb doesn't. Okay.
But this was critical as well.
Anyway,
you heard then, I've got DRS and Crossy doesn't, so we're going to try and go around a long way here. It turned 11. We just went a little bit too deep there in the end, but that'll help us out here if he stays out of the 1 second bracket. The guys in front with Wogboy in that, then we're in possibly for a good shot here for maybe, well, 5th place in this race, but won't matter to nothing.
Oh, Seb.
Won't matter much, as what I tried to say. Seb getting a little bit sideways there. I think I was trying to get a bit of an update there to see where he was, but of course the penalties, obviously now on the top left of screen, so it got changed around the last couple of...
What happened last year with me and Dre.
But here we go once again. Obviously going flashbacks to season 2 with myself and the MP Motorsport, the GOAT car, and obviously I think Dre was also in the Prema, but still putting pressure here on Crossy. I think he also dropped out of he's still out of the 1 second window to these guys.
We did the exact same thing.
We both get a little bit sideways there, so we're pushing right onto the limit here. We had a pretty decent run through both the right-handers here, but we just play it nice and cautiously through here. You can go for a move there if you can pull it off. And I think actually Crossy may have got another time penalty as well, so which probably doesn't matter too much, to say the least. But what to have a pretty much decent battle for the rest of this race, to say the least, as we go very, very wide through there, as we actually pick up a warning for that one. So we didn't get any warnings before, but for somehow, since we're further wider than what we were.
Whoa, Seb.
So Seb is getting really sideways there. So this is helping us out here quite a bit here. So let's see what this Dams car can do compared to the Carlin in front of us here.
Doesn't worry me.
But let's see what we've got the DRS straight here. Not going to go for the move here, although we technically could if we wanted to, but think better of it obviously into turn 8. Well, obviously just trying to line him up for a bit of a switchback here. Take a lot more curb. I think he took a lot more curb than what we did. So
come on, DRS,
now
come on.
The DRS on this back straight here. It's pretty much side by side. I think he's got a bit of a side toe there. We have to try and outbrake him here into turn 11, which we just do. Only by the skinniest of our teeth or something. That's probably not the right saying, but anyway. But now we're ahead of Seb for the time being, but we get sideways coming out of that corner, and he might still put us under pressure here into the hotel section here. And a big lock up here to 17, which gives him a bit more momentum. But obviously he's on the wrong side as we get another 3 second time penalty. So that's 16 seconds now worth of time penalties. 2 3 seconds and 1 10 seconds. So that's not going to be ideal for later on. But back we go here. Obviously the guys in front have actually started to pull away as well. So now it's just pretty much this fight of what is going on. And the Rock's obviously a little bit further back as well. I think it's like 2 seconds potentially. So now here we go to lap 10. Now, I'm pretty much the pioneer, you could say. It's obviously it's not wet, obviously, but now Seb can see where my strengths and weaknesses are in his car. So Vicky just went a little bit wider coming out of turn 3 and into turn 5. We get another warning for corner cutting, obviously. Taking literally a big, big risk, to say the least.
Turn, please.
That's a big understeer moment at the hairpin of turn 7. But I think we just get away with it with the better drive. But Crossy is
Damn you,
all
Seb.
over
I
our
knew you would
DRS
do that.
window. So we have to cover down the inside
make you work
line
for it,
here
why
to
not?
make sure, obviously, he doesn't get that move done, but might
I might
potentially
just
get
got
this
myself
move
P8.
done.
Oh, back to P8 anyway.
Yeah, get this move done even before the chicane at turn 8, which he does. And 9, we obviously tried to do a little bit of a switchback. Can't quite get the
Don't do
drive.
what you did last season.
Actually, probably got a little bit too sideways, to say the least. So, but we get the DRS back on him here, but we're not really quite close enough here for a move. We tried braking as deep as we can, but yeah, not really quite close enough. So, on current rate, I think we're going to finish possibly 7th or 8th, maybe 7th at worst. Sitting where Wafer is, like I mentioned, I think Wafer did rejoin the lobby from memory. You can see his game attack has disappeared. That's usually the case as we literally go way wide. I'm surprised I didn't even bin that car once again like I did in the first race, but we managed to survive it. Literally just giving it our absolute all here on this last lap to try and catch up to Crossy here for the move, and not
Needed
really
to
quite
go out
close
more.
enough.
Come on. Give me the help, Seb. Come on.
See, I'm pretty much yelling at Seb. I don't know why I was doing this, but anyway. But it was pretty much to no avail there in the end.
Oh, Seb.
But actually, he ran a little bit wide, or had a moment out of turn 19. In the end, it wasn't quite enough to get him in the end. So we're going to cross the line over the finish line of P6 as we actually
Thrust into ACW's car. Why not?
into ACW's Trident car, which we've absolutely smashed into smithereens. And then the
Oh,
rock
no,
just
gets smashed
slams
by rock.
into me as well. So we dropped back to P7.
Yeah, it's probably going to be
Swaggy
P8
wins
anyway.
the Grand Prix.
I'll be shocked if it isn't.
And so I think
it was.
Wafer finished in P8.
Oh, no, it gets P7, yes.
So in the end, we do get P7 there in the end. I think who's got the driver of the day? Wog Boy gets the driver of the day for the sprint race.
Boy driver of the day.
Probably no surprises there
Swaggy
whatsoever.
the weaving bugger.
So,
Jesus.
yep,
How has
pretty
he
much
managed to
how I
hang
dubbed
on
him.
to that?
Swaggy the weaving bugger wins the Grand Prix somehow. I don't know how he
Right,
won
next
this race
season we
with
shall go again. Fingers
in this,
crossed.
and
I'll get
Plebs
rid
got
of the
second,
webcam.
and
Fingers crossed we can
who got
hopefully
third? I can't actually
go
tell
for a
from
better
that
car.
point of view. That
Yeah,
doesn't really
the
help.
3 cars I've got in mind at the moment.
I'm gonna
which there's been a
overrun
lot of
my,
stuff about, and with Nikita Mazepin and
But I was
Luca
pretty much running
Giotto,
through
so that's
the
by
list of
3
cars
at the
on what I
moment.
wanted to drive
There's
for
other
the next
options,
season anyway,
maybe
which
you and I
unfortunately there
Virtuosi,
wasn't
possibly
the next
who
season.
knows,
So
but,
there's the final results. I think it was
that was the end of the
Swaggy,
season.
Plebs,
Get-
and Wogboy.
what
I
do we
think
get?
got third
2
in the end.
points and
ACW
4
with
points? I don't even know.
4th,
We'll have a
then
look.
Crossy in 5th. Rock in 6th, obviously, then 7th myself, and Wafer in 8th, and then the 2 BWTE HWA cars finished up
Look at
in
the
9th
race
and
director,
10th.
that
It
was a
didn't
shocker.
matter much anyway, so but yeah, that was pretty much the season. Done and dusted for season
weekend
3 in
results,
Formula
6
2.
points, so I mean, not too bad.
There's the
Could've
overall
been
round
worse,
results
but
as
anyway.
well, so I think Wogboy got that as well over Players and Swaggy.
I'll leave you now with the highlights. Smash the like button if you enjoyed, obviously, the full POV. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. It really helps me out. And, yeah, if you want to join Race Spec, there's a Discord link in the description. And we go again next season, I suppose. I'll see you then.
Pretty much just do what I just said then. Smash the like button if you did enjoy this video. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And go follow me on my social media channels. They're down in the description. Plus, there's the links as well to the Race Spec Esports social channels and their Twitter and YouTube channels as well. Go check them out. I think there's still a Discord link, so if you want to come and sign up, then you can. There's a link down in the description as well. But other than that, that was Season 3 done and dusted. So until the next time we do Formula 2 in Race Spec, it is goodbye, and I'll see you all next time.